Hello, and welcome back to this YouTube channel, Math and Science Problems. Today, we will be going over the empirical and molecular formulas, which can be found and are used in chemistry. Before we start this video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications too, so you can get more cool, interesting, and fun videos just like these. And if you're willing to, comment down below. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let's begin. So, the empirical and molecular formulas are found in chemistry to write equations. These are two different formulas used for two different things. One of those ways are to showcase how a specific equation is supposed to look, and the other way is a more simplified version, if you would say, of that same equation. So, let's give some examples. So, a molecular formula showcases exactly the molecular compounds in a specific equation. So for the molecular formula, it's the full equation. Full equation. Abbreviated. And then for the empirical, equations or formulas, this is equal to a simplified version. Now, a full equation will look something like H2O, which we all know is water. Now, this equation cannot be simplified any more than what it already is. Cannot be simplified anymore. However, it can be rewritten as H of 4 and O of 2 because you can simplify this to this by taking out two hydrogen molecules and two oxygen molecules. So the molecular equation is the full equation, is the full equation of how something is. And the empirical is simplified, or it can be product or a factorization of that full equation. So let's look at this with more examples. So say I wanted to write out the molecular equation of glucose. Now the molecular equation of glucose is C6H12O6. Now, looking at these numbers, 6, 12, and 6, it can be easily found that a common factor out of all of these numbers are 6. So simply for the empirical or simplified version of this equation, we will take this equation and we will simplify it. So if we're taking 6 out of each molecule, we'll have C, then we have H2, and then we'll have O. So We had 6 carbons, we had 6 carbon molecules, 12 hydrogen molecules, and 6 oxygen molecules. Now, since we divided by 6 by each molecule, we have 1 carbon molecule, 2 hydrogen molecules, and 1 oxygen molecule. So 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 times 1 is 6, which shows that these are equally equivalent. So, understanding this, we can see that both of these equations pretty much give us an molecular understanding of how an equation could look, whether that's the molecular equation or the empirical. Cool. Now, let's try this out with another one. Say we wanted to find ethane. Now, ethane molecular equation, meaning the full equation, is, I'm gonna write M for short, is C2H4. Now, if I wanted to write this in the empirical equation, I will simply simplify. Now, I want to give you all some time. If you have some paper, or if you just have some time to think about it, I want to give you a few seconds to figure it out. Now, you can pause the video right here, take some time to figure it out, and come back. So, assuming that you pause the video, or maybe you just want to see me work through it, or you're just trying to figure out how to do it, you simply divide by 2, or finding the greatest common factor, the GCF, of these 2 molecules, 2 carbons and 4 hydrogens. We can see that 2 is the greatest common factor between these 2. So that would mean that we would have C and H of 2. Now, because we have these 2, we can understand that the molecular equation of ethane is C2H4. But however, the empirical formula is 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen. So, understanding this all in total, we can understand that the molecular equation in chemistry is used to write something out fully. The empirical is a more simplified version of writing that. And now, just like in mathematics, when we simplify our equations, it's just to make sure that we have a sense of understanding how it can be rewritten, but also rewriting it to simplifying it at its least. This provides people with a more sense of how things can be rewritten, but also how it can be understood. Because lots of times when we're hopefully not playing around with elements and trying new things, we can understand that things can get challenging and we may be fixated on a specific number. So lots of times when we approach something through the molecular formula, although we may find out that it will be the same and always will be the same because it's just a simplified version, some things may go haywire and you may need a more simplified version to figure it out. And also a more simplified version provides more clean work and it provides everything just more in total of a cleaner process when dealing with chemistry. And also when writing out molecules, which we'll get into later on in this channel, stay tuned, we can understand that these two, the molecular and the empirical, are exactly the same. And sometimes simplified version is way easier than writing out 6 carbon molecules and 12 hydrogen molecules when you can just write 1 and 2. So empirical formula is a lifesaver for chemistry. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video of the empirical and molecular formulas in chemistry. We learned how to use the molecular and empirical equations by understanding that the molecular equation slash formula is a full equation, and the empirical is a simplified equation. And understanding how to use those two is highly important because it provides us with understanding on how to rewrite an equation in chemistry. We also gave two models of that, one in glucose and one in ethane or ethanol, and we understood and went through this exact process on how to do that. I hope this video was highly informational for you and hopefully helped you if you're going into chemistry soon or you plan to take the AP test next year. Or, yeah, next year. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down for more if you have any suggestions, or if you just want to comment and just give some praise. Make sure you turn on notifications, stay tuned for other videos, and most definitely, I will see you next video. Take care. And thank you for tuning in onto Math and Science Problems.